Hi you guys, hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. Today we have a special effects video for beginners, and that is how to properly cover your eyebrows. So this is a really important video to me because I just love special effects makeup. It is really just truly has such a special place in my heart, and I cannot wait to share this stuff with you guys, especially if you're just getting into special effects makeup. That is so exciting. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy that you chose me to be a part of your journey as well. And as always, throughout this video, if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below for me. I will get back to all of you guys, and we can hop right in because I'm really excited to show you how to get this bald forehead look. And let's start. Okay guys, so starting off, I have my glue stick. You can use a white glue stick, but I feel like for beginners, it's a little bit easier to use a colored. You can use like blue or purple or whatever color is near you and start from there. I also have a couple of spatulas here, guys, and I'm gonna use my fingers also, and a spoolie. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to take our glue, and we are just, I've seen a lot of ways to cover brows, and this I think is just what works for me personally. I also think that this is I just think this is the best method overall, okay? So a lot of times I see people go like back and forth and try to get everything into their brow. And so if you have very easy to manage brows, that's totally fine. You can totally do that. But I'm not going to, because I feel like when you have, my eyebrows are not thick, but they're like longer, if that makes sense. I have thin, but my actual hair is like a little bit longer. And so when I put the glue everywhere, what happens is that glue gets stuck between the individual hairs, and they actually layer on top of each other and create texture. And so the whole entire point of covering up your brows is to try and get rid of texture and try and smooth that out. So I am going to take the glue and go in the direction that my hair is growing. And honestly, I don't even think that I need a spoolie right now. If you want to, maybe I do, maybe I'm going to. So you can just push your brows up so that they don't layer on top of one another and create that texture like I was saying. That's the reason why we push up our brows like that. Is that so they don't get that extra layering. I'm going to make sure that that's nice and flat. So a lot of people, it can be very helpful if you do go back and forth, because you're coating the entirety of your brow hair individually, which can be very helpful because when you push it down, then it can also stick there. So if you have thicker brows that are a little bit more difficult to manage and they don't do exactly what you tell them to do first time around, then that could be a really good thing for you. But mine personally, I just don't need it. And now I'm taking my finger and I'm smoothing this out because I feel like a lot of times you get these, and I'm starting to get them now, and that's because I'm trying to explain and work at the same time. But normally I do my brows very, very fast. I'll do this one really fast because I don't want this glue to dry at all, because when glue dries like that and you're still fudging with it like this, it will, I hope, you know what, we can zoom in and you can see all of these little glue things right there. It's fine, we can get rid of them, we can clean them. So I'm just going over with my spoolie, but this time I'm twisting as I'm going up to catch those little clusters, and I can just take them off with my finger. So that's what's gonna happen if you are like me, but this is normally how fast I do my brows, like this. Extremely fast, because I don't want this glue to dry at all. And I wanna stay as close to on my brow as I possibly can without going so far up into my skin. See, there we go. This one is already much, much better. This one is fine. I am just going to fix it. There we go. See, this one is like so much smoother, and I'm going to wait for this to dry a little bit, and then I'm going to go over it, and then I'm going to go over it again. But I am also, you guys, you can use Q-tips and makeup remover for this. You can use a baby wipe like I am. You can use a makeup remover wipe. You can use a reusable cloth, anything that you guys want. And I'm just going to clean off that extra glue, because this is the reason why I didn't want to go onto my skin so much, because glue, the purpose of it is to dry and become hard, you know, so that it would stick two things together, that it combines two things. But your skin isn't hard. So what happens is you get this layer almost like a filmy layer on your skin of glue that becomes hard. And so this is a really good trick if you're trying to create like a wrinkles special effect look. This is really good because the layer of the glue will act as almost like a barrier so that your skin can't properly move. And so when your skin moves, like see I have this fine line here, usually it goes flat into a very distinct line. But when you have wrinkles, when you have that glue on your face, it makes it much more noticeable because it makes it a little bit wider. So this is really, really great for those kinds of special effects, but that's just not the look that we're going for today. And just cleaning up those areas. You can also, if you have any of those like patchy areas like I was explaining earlier, because I didn't do this quick enough, you can just go right over with the baby wipe, and then you can also take a spatula, you guys, and just go right over if you're having any stubborn hairs, and just gently flatten those out. This is also really good for removing any of the excess product that you don't want. If you don't have these spatulas, you guys, you can literally walk into any of your local hobby shops. Even like grocery stores will have these, and you can get spatulas for cake decorating. So these are for fondants, and this came in one pack. I think is just all I have yet. So these spatulas are great. You have like a flat one here. You can get just flat ones, but you can use anything like that. I have these two spatulas also, but you can get these very, very cheap. You don't have to order them from like a special effects website or anything like that. And even what I like to do sometimes, if I feel like my brows are being particularly stubborn, is that I take glue on the spatula and I go over only my brow area, not any of the skin. This is actually what I do most of the time, because this is honestly this is like the most perfect method in my opinion, but it can be a little bit tricky for beginners because it's hard to smooth that down properly. You have to get a really good feel for the pressure you're applying so that you remove the right amount of glue and keep the right amount of glue. And that's why I didn't start with this one. But once you do get a little bit more comfortable with this, then absolutely try this method. It is the best ever. It's so, so good. I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes, and then I'm going to come back to do all of my color work. Okay, so depending on what look you're going for now, if you wanted to just do your foundation, if you wanted to do a white base, a blue base, anything like that, if I go for a skin tone, I just use my like regular full coverage concealer. You can color correct these with like a red or a peach a little bit, but I feel like it's really unnecessary, and also sometimes it can make it a little bit worse if you add too much product, because what happens is that the color doesn't, so when you color correct, right, the colors will absorb a little bit, not the actual color, but the product of the color will absorb a little bit into your skin, and it will mix with the oils in your skin in order to make it a little bit easier to add another layer on top of that. With this glue, you don't have that because you have a layer of protection between your skin and the product, right? I wouldn't, not protection, but you guys know what I mean. So if you are going to color correct your brows, add very, very little product, because especially if you're using, like if you're going for a white look, I would recommend not color correcting at all for beginners, because it's really, 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 really hard. Practice, 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 definitely practice and get that consistency. But until you find what works best for you, because it is what works best for you. You know, the only reason I'm not telling you guys a certain way is because everyone's eyebrows have such a different tint to them. So if I tell you to use like this shade and this and that, it's not going to work for everyone. So this is one of those things where you really do have to play around with not only the color shading, but the amount of products that you put on. You also have to make sure that you are completely dry. My eyebrows are completely dry. There is no wet glue on there at all. So you guys, just for the sake of doing this, the sake of the video, I am going to use my concealer. This is just like my NARS Creme Brulee is the color. It is a little bit lighter. Normally I would use something that is like closer to my skin tone. What you can also do is you can take your handy dandy spatula, just like this, which is amazing. And if you wanted to, you can add a little bit of like red or peach shadow to this to give it a tiny little bit of a warm tint. You just have to be careful with that and mix it together, of course. You know what, maybe I'll do that for you guys so that you can see it. But then when you do that, you do have to use a very full coverage foundation afterwards. So I will go grab my shadows and be right back. So I'm just using a little bit of this shade right over here because that's what works for me, I think. And I'm just gonna take my finger like this, you guys, just like this. And I'm going to take the product I have on my spatula, put that onto my hand. Okay, so if I was doing this on like a client, I would never use my hand, never. You never ever wanna put any product on your hand and then put it onto the client. You never want to put anything, like you would never work with this actual, any spoolie or anything for mascara. You would always get disposable ones, just so you know, guys. If you see this and you're considering becoming like a pro special effects makeup artist, it's just not hygienic. And then I'm gonna take my finger and I'm just gonna go over. And I like using my finger because I can really feel, and I have so much control of the pressure, everything. So you can already see this is like crazy what is happening right now. And this is not even covered very well. I like to go over with a few layers in back and forth motions, making sure I'm getting every nick and cranny. But I like to work very gently. This is so crazy what just a little bit of product can do, and we're not even close to done yet. We have a lot of covering to do still. And I'm just going to lightly blend that out. And this is another reason why I like to use my finger. I just think it's better than using a sponge or a brush because I have so much control over the pressure I put, so I can add a little bit more on these concentrated areas. Yeah, this is already, it's really crazy, right? Eyebrows are so important. Imagine yourself without eyebrows all the time. There's this best ad ever. I'm sure you guys have seen it. You guys can look it up right now. But it's this guy who's missing an eyebrow and he's missing a tooth. It's for some dentist, you know? But I'm just mixing a little bit more product. And yeah, it's really funny. You guys, I won't spoil it for you, but you should go look it up. It's hilarious. But eyebrows are very important. And let's add here. And I really, really like to press that product in. And remember, this is just the base, so we're still going to add our foundation, and it's already practically completely gone. I can see, because I'm very close to it, obviously. But it doesn't look like in my monitor, I can't see any pigmentation at all from this brow. I'm just gonna take my spatula and I'm gonna go over one more time. I like using, this is my favorite tool, I think, for special effects makeup is this spatula, because you can just make things so smooth. And I initially like to go in with my finger, of course, but then to get that just extra bit, I love using a spatula because it doesn't pick up any of the extra product. It just lays it. And again, you can get these super, super cheap. Even like CVS will have cake decorating kits that have these spatulas. Yep. And so you guys, this is just the first layer. We're still going to add in our foundation. I am going to do the other side the same exact way, so I will be right back for that because it's the exact same thing. Okay, so now that I'm a complete freak, all right, the foundation I'm going to be using today, I don't recommend it for anything other than special effects, because I feel like, honestly, it's like the most full coverage foundation that I own by far. It's so good for that. So if you're looking for that, then sure. But every single time I use this, I have a reaction to it. So that's first off. Second is that this has so much fragrance and stuff in it. I can smell it from across the room. Like, it's fine. It's just fine, not for me, okay? Like, if you have sensitive skin, I don't recommend it. I'm only going to be using this because it is full coverage. It is the most full coverage that I own. So I want to show you guys what full coverage foundation will do for these brows that are already like completely gone. They are a little bit lighter than my skin tone, obviously, because of the concealer. But I would just, I don't like bashing brands at all. I think that like for some people, this would be fine. It would be great if you don't have sensitive skin and if you are like really young. If you are also just looking for like regular beauty makeup too, and you're trying to get into beauty makeup, and this, just know Huda Beauty is it's a young brand. Her eyeshadows are very good, I think, but when it comes to her face products, most of them are for like a younger crowd that don't really worry about like wrinkles or fine lines, or don't have like very, very sensitive or dry or anything like that. Okay, end of story. Anyway, we're moving on. And I'm taking this, look how thick this is. Like, look at this. It just, I'm not going to use all of this product either. I just want to show you guys. This is raised up like at least a foot. Okay, that's dramatic, but you know what I mean. And I'm just gonna take my sponge and I'm going to just apply my foundation as normal. I did, before I even started, I primed my face with a moisturizer and a primer, but I just did that first and off camera because it needed to set for a little bit. But if you didn't already, just put on your moisturizer and primer, all that fun stuff. So I'm going in with my sponge. And this is going to be so covered. It's going to be crazy how covered this thing is. This is already really full foundation. Like look at the difference. And it, like all that redness, it just softens also. So for color, it's good. It's a good brand. Okay, let's get that to match with the rest of my face. I just look bizarre. You guys know that movie, I think it's called Splice. Splice, I think it's called, about those two genetic scientists that create this. I think her name is like Fawn or something like that, or Fran, something. But anyway, that's always what I picture when I see anything with no eyebrows. I don't even know if she actually has eyebrows in that, but I don't think she does. I always think about that movie. It's an older movie. Okay, so I just look like a total weirdo now. I love it. I actually do really love it. If you want to, you can just set your face with your regular setting powder and do whatever look you're doing. The only thing that I do have to say is that if you are going to be drawing on your face, like say with lines, or you're going to be drawing over this, you want to be very careful that you make sure that all of your product underneath is set properly, because when you take, I don't even have one with me, but let's say like you take an angled brush or a spatula or anything, and you apply too much pressure, what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be making indents into that product if it's not properly set. So not only do you have to make sure it's properly set, but also be very careful with the amount of pressure that you apply on your brush when you are going over, whether you're doing like different shaped brows or anything that you're doing. Just be cautious and aware of the product that you've already applied on your face. That's why going with the most full coverage foundation is honestly the best move, because you can apply that in a thin layer and get the most amount of coverage. So this is it. This is all I have for you guys today. It is so important, whether you're getting into beauty makeup, special effects, anything, learn the basics first. So important. Like, if I could just drill something into your head, it would be that, because if you have the basics down, you can do anything and you can figure out anything. But if you try to work from the back and go to the front, it's very hard. It's very hard. You can figure it out, but it's not going to be as polished as you want. It's not going to be as, it won't be what you're thinking in your head. It won't translate properly. So knowing the basics is literally the most important thing, whether that be beauty, special effects, anything. That's why these videos are so important to me, because I am a makeup artist in real life. I do love this job. I love makeup so much, and I feel like so many people nowadays are so talented with makeup, and a lot of people are self-taught, which is totally great. Totally great. I'm a huge fan of that. I was self-taught for a long time, and it's amazing. But you have to make sure too that you're doing your due diligence by learning the basics also, not just like all these insane looks, that people create. And it's amazing. It's definitely amazing. But you guys, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Basics are chef's kiss. They're chef's kiss, because now we can do any look that we want with it. And that's what's really exciting about special effects, is you have that ability to create anything. So I will stop talking now. Stop taking up so much of your time. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is really just my biggest passion. I love special effects makeup so much. I love it. So it really means so much to me that you guys take an interest in it as well, and that you enjoy seeing it on my channel. Actually, I think my special effects videos do the best on my channel, actually, from you guys. I get the best reaction, so I really appreciate you for that. You are like making me so happy. But if you enjoyed this video and if it was helpful to you and you feel like supporting me and my channel, you could give it a big thumbs up for me. Also hit that big subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of my weekly videos. Thank you guys again so much for hanging out with me, and I cannot wait to see you guys next time. Bye!